Oh, hello, hello. It's the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Took a while to come out with the second book because I have been in overdrive. It's hard to believe. there's no sense in even going through the full itinerary on a daily basis of what I do. Just it's results are all that matter. I told you guys I was putting together some very extensive debate files, but it's never about the amount of material that one possesses. It's about the quality. It has to be. Data sets a data set is not a data set. It's just a bunch of random data points if it doesn't deliver. So I'm putting some guys. You guys know that I'm pretty passionate about my call outs, man. Because you know what, people know. People making that money shilling false information. That's fine. But I've been in the field publishing and putting out for free the correct information, full PDF data sets, even for my professional adversaries for free. And yet I'm still seeing the podcast pop up. I'm still seeing it's going on. They're still shilling all this wrong information. So it's all about the dollar. And the reason this offends me is because these same individuals also do pseudo spiritual posts as well, and videos and collaborations. It's like, no, man, you hypocritical bastards. You think I'm going to be quiet? You got another thing coming. I've been so busy. This is just 2 days right here. I data mined these in 2 days. Oh my God. I thought I already had the whole Atlantis deal sealed shut because I do have a lot of very profound information on Atlantis. But this is 2 days of reading right here. I'm talking about, I can show you the back cover of every single one of these books and show you all the notations that I've made in these books. I don't have to prove it to you. You're going to see it because there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to put out this tremendous amount of data unless I had data mined it. This is just about 1/5 of the books that I have that I showed you guys in my Atlantis video that I have to go through. I'm just getting started. I already have a lot of really good Atlantis stuff, but I've been discovering things that I had missed. I had totally missed in the Plato narrative, things that are substantive that you just can't ignore. I mean, there's really relevant things. And I was like, wow, chrono markers that I totally missed, but other scholars picked them up. So, oh, I just had Michael Cremo. Oh man, I just dropped all those on the floor. I had Michael Cremo on the. You guys know I've talked about him and Richard Thompson and their work in forbidden archaeology, and I told the man in the video that I'm ordering his books tonight, and I did. They came in yesterday. These are 2 Cremo books. I'll check these out. I'll probably have to add some of the relative dating method stuff he has and unusual parts archaeological discoveries in here. So yeah, that's another project I'm working on is relative dating methods and showing how every single one of them have been proven to be an error over and over and over. So I'm a busy guy. I didn't mean to drop these. I only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 left. The rest of them all fell down. I'm just showing you guys. Lifestyle changes. I've tried the carnivore diet. And I'll probably do it again as a cleanse, not a lifestyle. But I got to be careful with it. So I go to a special butcher shop that deals with local ranchers and farmers. Just like I get a lot of my foods from Walker's Feed here in Willis because I'm not in the grocery store. Everything's terrible. It's toxic. So at this butcher shop, they got the real meats. So I'm finding that they're 3D printing steaks now. And I'm finding all kinds of stuff. So you know what? I'm changing where I get my food and I'm now on the cell salts. I'm going to try this. Somebody turned me on to this, but there's a General Health store that I go to frequently now, once a week, and I get groceries from it because the guy there is passionate about labels and ingredients, and he goes through everything, and he makes sure that nothing in his store is going to hurt you. And he's very passionate about that. He's the one that told me in the cell. So I went through all the different. He's got them all on display, what they do, and I'm going to try them. Pretty interesting. Never did cell salts before. Never did that before. I got some show and tell after this video's over. Some things you're going to want to see. I also have I have a care package coming from Alphabetic. So Mike Winter and Bear, Dr. Bear sent me something. So yeah, it's when I get that, I'll share it with you. I'm gonna try those products. I may network with them. I don't know. I'm new to all this stuff. I've always lived my life the way I wanted to live, and my body's always reciprocated. I've always pushed forward, whatever happens. I also made a major discovery, guys. I made a major discovery. Because many of you have seen the video. YouTube took it down. It was my first video. My second video taken down was done with Max Egan, but called Reset Cities of the Deep. YouTube took it down. But my first video that was removed was filmed from the hospital. I spent 13 days in the hospital. I know I had radiation poison. Everybody who knows me knows it was radiation poison. My paperwork said COVID. So it doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. Yeah, I couldn't breathe. I just, my body shut down. And man, come to think, you guys remember back when I was doing videos from a fifth wheeler? Before I bought property and installed buildings and turned the buildings into different things. You remember when I was living? You know, I started my channel living off a motorcycle, a tent, a wooden shack, and I just had a bunch of passion, and I was doing videos on my phone and on my tablet. And I even told you guys from the very beginning of my channel where this was going to go, because I knew what type of research I had back in my dad's attic. I knew. Back at Dad's place, I had all those bags of research, and I was going to end up doing something with them. It wasn't that time in my life. I was working oil and gas. I was trying to do something with my life, and I realized that working 712s isn't going to do it. Yeah, I bought a badass motorcycle. Big deal. It's just not the life for me. And I released videos, and it was when I just walked away from oil and gas, and I realized I'm not going to make any money. So you know what? I'm just gonna do me. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm done trying to just work on this. I'm done with the treadmill. So this is what I had done in 2019. I walked away. I walked away from all that 9 to 5, trying to do all that stuff, and I started Paradise Rock Gardens. I was only going to work for myself, and then I didn't even have to do advertising and marketing. And suddenly, by word of mouth, word spread after I did an amazing back veranda flagstone piece, elevated, multi-tiered, like a stepped platform. Word spread, and next thing you know, I got contracts everywhere. And I stayed busy for 3 years as I built Archaix channel. I was working my ass off with Flagstone, with Junior, JR, a bunch of y'all know him, and Big John. And we did some amazing jobs. And most of the Flagstoners in Texas are Hispanic. So here are 3 white guys on a crew doing fantastic work. And there was no end to the people that wanted my work. So I was able to fund myself, and I was able to increase the quality of my life while I was releasing videos. Remember, it took over 300 videos. 300's a lot of videos. 300, and some of those videos are intense, massive, nothing but data dumps, just research, boring, poor editing. I wasn't good at what I was doing at all, but the information is gold. My first 300 videos, I didn't even have 1,000 subs, busting my ass doing videos, coming home at night. I'm telling you all this. I'm reminding you of this because many of you know the background in those early videos was a fifth wheel. Well, I still have that fifth wheel here on the property, just don't live in it. The reason I'm telling you this is I figured out, well, actually somebody else figured it out for me, because we were looking at my property and we were looking at this huge empty space where I now have generator and I have plants and a huge banana plant and all that. And the guy goes, man, isn't that where you used to have the fifth wheel? Because the fifth wheel's across the street now. He said, isn't that where you? I said, yeah, I did. So he said, oh man, yeah, it's good you're not there no more, man. It's good you're not there. So I'm like, what? Yeah, okay. He said, yeah, man, that's dangerous. He says that fifth wheel right there, and the way y'all had it parked in here, your little bedroom right there was right there next to that smart meter. The smart meter on the pole is exactly where the bedroom is. I remember when the fifth wheel was put in here, we were inches away from the pole. It's right outside the window of the bedroom. And it's on that bed. I used to sleep on that bed by myself. And it was on that bed that over a period of 3 or 4 days, I started feeling really weird. And then one day I woke up in the morning and I could not breathe. Couldn't. And then I spent 13 days in the hospital and lost a whole lot of weight, looked like a skeleton. Did a video on YouTube, explained that I had radiation poisoning and all that, and that they gave me this milky white IV, and this milky white IV was twice bigger than the saline IVs. And they even told me, it says, man, look, man, as soon as this IV is in your system, you'll leave tomorrow. I'm like, man, I'm almost dead. I was on a respirator for like 6 hours. They told me, if you're on a respirator any longer, man, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. It says you've got to get off that respirator and get on the Vapotherm. You can stay on the Vapotherm longer, but you got to get off that respirator. I did. I got on the Vapotherm. Then I got on oxygen. You guys know the story. I've told it many times. But now I thought it was the new 5G phone that I just bought, because I bought it 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days before that, I got my first 5G phone. And I got sick real bad. This is 2021 at the height of COVID. And they put me on the 3rd floor in Conroe Regional Hospital death wing. Everybody code bluing out. Everyone going up to the 3rd floor was code bluing out. Nurses just told us straight out. So I kept asking, man, code blue, what does that mean? Multiple times a day we got this code blue. I said, people checking out. I said, what? I said, yeah, man, everybody stops breathing, man. It's code blue. I'm like, man, this is crazy. So now I don't believe the narrative they gave me at all. At all. I don't believe the narrative they gave me at all. So don't think I'm sitting here trying to promote that I had COVID. No. That's what they put on everybody's paperwork, because every hospital got a financial boost for saying that. In my case, I slept 2 feet away from a smart meter through a thin veneer wall of a fifth wheel. That's what got me sick. I'm convinced of it now. And most people who live in residential homes have that brick insulation wood sheetrock, a separation between the smart meter outside and inside the house. Yeah, fifth wheels aren't like that. It's a thin veneer. Yeah, that's why you can hear everything outside. They're real light and they're real thin. That's what it was. For weeks, I was sleeping right underneath that smart meter. Didn't even know it. Didn't even know back then. I wasn't hip, guys. Just wasn't hip. Amazing all the things that we have learned as a community since 2020. It's crazy. It's amazing, man. So we have a very interesting book here. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I read it as a child, but I wouldn't have pulled from it what I'm pulled from it as an adult. As a child, it was very engaging, imaginative, fired the imagination. It was awesome. But as an adult, I'm reading more into it. Maybe I'm reading more into it than is actually there. But then again, I'm also dealing with a cabal of very imaginative writers who were trying to tell us things about our world, and they all knew each other. They were all friends. They were correspondents. These 3 men are legends. C.S. Lewis was only one of them. One of his greatest friends was J.R.R. Tolkien, who gave us the business in the Silmarillion. And then in The Hobbit, in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, there's a lot of good stuff in there as well. But these 2 men were also contemporaries and friends with H.G. Wells. And I've shown you on in Archaix, H.G. Wells was in the know. Remember that chronological material he put? 2105 is the last year of the skyscrapers. And 2106 begins a whole new epic that seems to be important to cultists and religionists. 2106, the year 6000. No, people new to my channel get triggered when they hear that. There is no evidence that the world is 6,000 years. I am not pushing that. I am not pushing that type of dispensationalism right here on our Archaix at all. But there is a 6,000 year cycle that is very well verified. It is the Phoenix phenomenon. 3895 BC is 6,000 years before 2106. It is a definitive cycle based off the Anuna epicycles of 600 years, which were 216,000 days. Very well known in ancient history. We have got chronological videos that cover all this material. For now, just know that I claim to be reading too much into The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but am I? Because we know that H.G. Wells, C.S. Lewis, and J.R.R. Tolkien were all in correspondence with each other, and they all put out deep, deep fictional material that all had some profound truths embedded in them. All right. So shout out to my moderators. I don't do that a lot. I should. I got among the best moderators on YouTube. It is something to be proud of. So, wow, got all kinds of sirens going on outside. All right. So I need to see my moderators. As a matter of fact, Mr. C, you're good at that. We need to have the moderators. I have something for you. You'll get to choose because I got a bunch of all of them, but I still have buddies in maximum security. Matter of fact, I have a buddy that Big John knows real well. All three of us knew each other. And he's still in the craft shop. And he's been in prison like 30-something years, 32, 33 years. And he sends Big John and I leather work. This is leather work of another vintage. These guys take their time. There's no hurry. They're in prison. They got nothing else to do. But they make masterwork leather work. These are Archaix koozies. That's a Phoenix. This is all hand-tooled. They don't have machines. This is all hand-tooled leather work from maximum security Texas prison. I got a whole box of them right now. I've got the koozies. I've got the Archaix keychains. These are really easy to make. There's nothing to it. But I need Mr. C. Why don't you post the this is for the moderators only. But we'll be if you want a keychain and a koozie, you'll have to hit me up on archaix138@gmail.com. And of course, just like last time, we'll have to go through the verification process to make sure you really are one of the moderators. It's the easy way to check. Because a lot of people be trying to scam. But I've got, man, I can't reach them all, but I got a lot of them. I got a whole box full. And they're all numbered. Every single one of them is numbered. Like this is number 11 of the set. So they're all basically the same. There's slightly different nuances, no big deal. But these are for my moderator. These are for the Archaix moderators. Also, not quite sure what we're going to do with these yet, but these are computer bags, all hand tooled. These are one of a kind. There's no two alike. These are amazing. These are done in Texas, maximum security, in the craft shops. These dudes take a lot of pride in what they do. I have more on order. More are going to be on the way. But yeah, if these were in a store, that would be close to $1,000. This is all genuine leather, multiple different materials, real high quality clasps, multiple pockets on the inside. Good for laptops. I got big laptops. I have HP Spectres, and they fit perfectly in here with some room. So these are pretty nice. We're not sure because of the expense of these. I don't know if I'll raffle them off. I'm waiting on another box of this leather stuff, but I don't know. We'll probably be raffling them off because we only have 2 of those right now. We will have more in the future, but never enough for all the moderators. So There will be a raffle like we always do in Houston, the Houston meetup, and there'll be all kinds of things in the raffle. And among them will be a whole box of just leather work, all original leather work too. So, yeah, man, we try to give back to the community, especially our moderators that are, they help out. You guys don't really get paid. I've sent packages to you in the past of merchandise and all that, and I think I sent gift cards one time. Well, I mean, you do what you do for free. You do it. It's a labor of love, but it doesn't mean it should go unappreciated. Oh, had local friends make that. Shaman of the Simulacrum. Imagine that. Imagine that. So, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The second book has almost no carryover from the first book. The first book that we did a video on, book 1 of the Chronicles of Narnia, is The Magician's Nephew. The only carryover is the fact is it's still dealing with Narnia, a hidden realm that's only accessible through a portal. You've got to get to an area. Remember, Diggory and the little girl had those rings, and they could use those rings to get access to the wood between the worlds. Remember that? And in the wood between the worlds, there were a bunch of pools, and those pools all led to many worlds. The pool that they ended up going into went to a world called Narnia. But they had inadvertently released a witch, and this witch had chased them, or actually escaped her own world, which she personally ruined, and followed the kids to their world, and she caused all kinds of ruckus in London. Anyway, they got the witch back into the wood between the worlds, and she went into the pool of Narnia. So here we are, like 40 years later. It's a long time later, with the setting, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The rings are no longer operable. They're not used in book 2 to get to Narnia. So book 1 was the discovery of the witch, and then her basically escaping the wood between the worlds and getting into Narnia. All right, so book's not big, but you can tell I went through it. When I data mine a book, that's what I do. I show the page note. Here's the page numbers for every piece of information I'll be taking out. I do this with all paperback books, all the cheap books. I don't do this with I don't do that with books that are, from the 1800s, 1700s, and I got a few from the 1600s. But all these cheap new paperbacks, I'll do that. It's the easy way. So let's share my screen and let's get into it. Without further ado, let's get into The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and see what we find. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. No, I'm going to share screen. I'm going to share a window. Oh, I love that. I love that feature. That feature's so badass. Share that window. That's not what I was trying to share. I'm trying to share this. All right. StreamYard's so weird sometimes. It's still not sharing what I want to share. Maybe, I remember. I have to actually open an image up, and then I can go through the file. I got it. So bizarre. So let's do that. Since that's what it's going to make me do, I'm gonna remove that. I got this 5 foot wide screen. I mean, it is helpful, but damn, it's kind of not sometimes. All right, so let's try it again. Stop sharing. So I'm going to share my screen. I got to say all the stuff out loud, or I'll mess it up. Oh, that's all I had to do is open the window. Okay. Awesome. Now I got it. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Here it is. So it's a beautiful map. This is the beautiful map of Narnia. Now, this map covers all 7 books. You know, in Archaix, we like our maps. And man, when it comes to maps, I got some new stuff to show you guys. Man, old maps for the win. Man, we found some more neat stuff. Old maps for the win. Yeah, it's cool. So, we'll wait till we get to that point right there. So, chapter 1 is Lucy looks into the wardrobe. So the whole setting is during World War II, the family called the Pevensey children. Peter is the oldest. He's just a kid, though. I think he's like 13 or 14. But Peter is the oldest. And then there's Susan, his little sister. Then their little brother, Edmund. And then the youngest is Lucy. So there's 4 kids of the Pevensey family. And because they live in London, they're sent into the countryside because London in World War II is being stratobombed by Germany. So for their safety during all this chaos, they're sending to the country to where they have an uncle who has a really mysterious mansion. So his name is Professor Kirk. Professor Kirk lives in this rather large, mysterious house, and he's their family. You basically understand Professor Kirk is the older version of the youngster we fell in love with in book 1, Diggory. Remember the little dirty boy? So our hero, Diggory, who was a child who discovered Narnia in book 1, is now a middle-aged man living with his housekeepers in a mansion in the countryside of England. And his name is Professor Diggory Kirk. His name Kirk is actually like it's a simile for church. It's Kirke, which if it was Greek or Latin, it would have been Circe, which is nothing but it's the same thing as it's the root word in our church. So anyway, what do kids do when they go to a large mansion? They already forgot about London being bombed and all that. They're on an adventure and they're going through the house. They're looking through the different rooms in the house, and Lucy, just this wardrobe captures her attention and she can't let it go. So when the other kids aren't really interested, they take off. They don't care and leave Lucy behind. And Lucy opens up the wardrobe and sees these old coats. But still, there's something about the wardrobe that's drawing her in. So Lucy climbs into the wardrobe. And she climbs in deep enough to where she starts smelling something and sensing something. It starts getting really cold, which is unusual if it's a wardrobe. So she pushes past the coats in this long wardrobe, and it opens up into a forest. And she realizes she's outside. It's snowing. It's wintertime. So Lucy, through the wardrobe in chapter 1, discovers the gate to Narnia. Maybe it's too much, but I personally read into it that this is an interesting association, that World War II was a dark stain. It was a dark period in human history. You could call it an apocalypse. It was an apocalypse for many because millions died. It was horrific for many. So here we have an apocalyptic type setting when the innocent little children find a portal. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but let's see as we continue. During an apocalyptic period, the innocent find a portal. All right, that's the beginning. That's chapter 1. Oh, I can't stand these pop-ups. These pop-ups are so invasive. I really need to get a technician here to go through my computer and take all this stuff off, because all it is trying to sell you VPNs that don't work anyway. The government still tracks and records every single thing you do, and try to sell you a whole bunch of software that's supposed to prevent malware, but all it does is create problems for your computer so they can fix them. So dumb. All right, now the Chronicles of Retardia. You watch your blaspheming mouth, face diaper. Yeah. So anyway, here we go. That's my assessment. Chapter 1 is very simple. Not a lot to it, but that is pretty much my assessment, that we have, during a very apocalyptic period, we have this wardrobe discovered by innocent people, and it's cleverly disguised. What is a wardrobe? A wardrobe is a part of architecture. Homes in the 19th century and maybe previously literally had areas in the walls that were designed for wardrobes. Wardrobes were factored into the architecture. So we have an architectural portal discovered by the innocent during an apocalyptic period. And it leads to the light. When Lucy gets through the wardrobe and comes out the back of the wardrobe, the first thing she sees is a lamp post. A lamp post is a pillar. Archaix veterans, are you following me here? A lamp post is a pillar. Pillar of light. Where do we get the origin of the word pyramid? From Iram of the columns, the Syriatic columns. So we have, during apocalyptic period, the innocent find a portal inside, disguised as architecture, that leads them to a pillar of light. So this is where I'm going with this. That's just chapter 1, but do subsequent chapters also show deeper meanings? That's the question. So, one thing to point out, this is Edmund. So we have Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. Edmund is the younger boy. And I want to show you something, because our writer C.S. Lewis was giving us every clue in the world as to Edmund. So Edmund is real cynical and negative about everything. Of course it would be raining, said Edmund. They had just finished their breakfast with the professor. This is Professor Diggory Kirk, who's now grown. And we're upstairs in the room that he had set apart for them. A long, low room with 2 windows looking out in one direction and one in another. So Susan tells him, "Do stop grumbling, Ed." The reason I'm drawing this to your attention is because I'm going to draw it to your attention many more times, because it's literally several Skittles drops in the direction of where Edmund's going in this story. The author was very good at showing these little character nuances. Really good. So that was that one. And what I should do is see if that works. It does not work. Now I learned something. Okay, I'm learning StreamYard. It's not going to allow me to jump from window to window. That's intriguing. So we're going to share. I'm going to share screen again. So let's just share the screen again. Now I know to go straight to that window, just like that. You guys should see that. Chapter 2, what Lucy found there. I really like some of these the pen and ink illustrations are dramatic, and they catch the emotion of the story. They catch it really good. So Lucy goes through past the lamppost into a snowy landscape. It's snowing in Narnia, and as Lucy's walking around, she happens upon a Mr. Tumnus, and Mr. Tumnus, as you can see by these goat hair legs, Mr. Tumnus is a satyr. He's a faun. So he's a kind-hearted faun. He's got red hair. He's got a friendly demeanor, and she takes to him immediately. What she doesn't know is that the snow in Narnia is not normal, and that this little horned, friendly guy here, this Mr. Tumnus, when he first sees her, he initially plans to kidnap her and to take her to the White Witch. The witch that infiltrated Narnia in book 1 is now known as the White Witch. And even though it's only been 30 or 40 years in London, it's been over 100 years in Narnia that the witch has been ruling. So he tells little Lucy that the White Witch has created the situation where in Narnia it's always winter, but never Christmas. So the White Witch has literally brought cold to a world and stopped time, because it's always winter, but never Christmas. So the inhabitants of Narnia know that their world is captured, and they know who did it. But the inhabitants of that world are powerless to stop her. They fear her, even to the point where Mr. Tumnus, the satyr, fears the White Witch so much that even though he befriends little Lucy, in his mind, he's already justifying why he's got to take her to the White Witch. So, but Lucy continues talking to him. Pure innocence. She has no idea that this is going through his mind. And just conversating, asking questions, just in general talk, little Lucy's innocence wins over the faun, and Mr. Tumnus decides he's not going to take her to the White Witch. His conscience prevents him when he realizes how much he likes Lucy. And Mr. Tumnus becomes Lucy's first friend in this strange new world of Narnia. So they just chatted up, talked, and she's in his little study. See this study right here? There's Lucy in this chair right here eating a little apple or something. And there's old boy sitting there. He's already decided he's not going to take her to the White Witch. And she's looking at all kinds of things, and she took an interest in the bookshelf. Oh man, Lucy is a girl after my own heart. She takes an interest at the bookshelf. And on the bookshelf, remember, they got books, but this is a different world. It's not London. It's not our world. It's the world of Narnia. So the books are very different. Lucy looked at these while he was setting out the tea things. They had titles like The Life and Letters of Silenus, or Nymphs and Their Ways, or men, monks, and gamekeepers, a study in popular legend, or is man a myth? Wow, silliness. Silliness is the name of a satire. So anyway, their books, just like we have books that speculate on the existence of cryptids and Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and there's so many different chupacabras and all that. Loch Ness monster. We have books that talk about all these different types of strange phenomena. We have books that talk about elves and fairies and hobwalkies and bogies and trolls and dwarves and leprechauns. Yeah, we got all that right here in our world. But in their world, they got books about men. Do humans exist? It's crazy. So there they are. There's Lucy and there's a fawn, and there's just different. There's dancing going on, and Narnia is a pretty magical place. Lucy loves it. Lucy loves Narnia. It's pretty cool. And it's telling them all about the histories of Narnia, and it's just pretty. I like the illustrations. I like the illustrations a lot. But Lucy realizes it's a whole world. It's not just in the back of the wardrobe. She basically comes to the realization, wow, this is a whole world, and Mr. Tumnus is not the only one here. There's a lot. There's a lot here. So then Mr. Tumnus breaks down and cries and tells Lucy the truth that, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to be in so much trouble. But please forgive me. I was going to turn you into the White Witch, but I can see that you're good, and there's no way I can do it now. So I know after you leave, she's going to come for me, and he's all scared now. So he's going to take her back to the lamppost. Remember, Lucy is in an alien world. It's not the world that she came from. And she's got to get back to the light, which is the lamppost, shaped like a pillar. Mr. Tumnus is a denizen of that other world, and he tells her, "Hey man, come. We must go quietly. We got to stick to the path. Come with me, and I will take you. But beware. We have to be quiet. The wood is absolutely filled with her spies. So even some of the trees are on her side." So that's what happens. There they are right there under the umbrella. And he got little Lucy all the way back to the lamppost. Because from the lamppost, she knows exactly where the entrance to the wardrobe is. And that concludes chapter 2. So I will go here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. I'm seeing if this thing's going to let me. Oh, it did. Nope. So each file, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. Each file has to be independently shared. Got it. No big deal. No big deal. So I'm going to share the next one. So we're going into chapter 3 now. There's 17 chapters in this book. 16 or 17, I'm not sure. So let me share my screen again. Alrighty. So in chapter 3, Edmund and the Wardrobe, Lucy comes back and she tries to tell her two brothers and her sister about Narnia and about Mr. Tumnus and the White Witch and the snow and the lamppost. She tries to tell everything, and she even tells them, I've been away for hours and hours. Here it is right here. The reason I marked it is because they don't think she's been gone. Remember, they left the room and she went into the wardrobe. But she comes out of the wardrobe and they don't perceive that she's been gone at all. So I've been gone away for hours and hours, said Lucy. So what we have here is through the gate, we have a time dilation. We have a complete, thank you, Dr. Ward. You said the exact same thing. You anticipated me, man. Keep my eyes on you. So we have a time dilation here. This is a very interesting correlation with like UFO abduction phenomenon when people are taken somewhere else and they're there for a while. They're there long enough for whatever needs to be done, but when they're brought back, there's a time dilation. And sometimes there's missing hours. Sometimes there's no missing time, but they know that they've just been through a whole lot and even have surgical incision and a soreness, and implants are found later proving that something was done. And it wasn't done in seconds. It took time. So time dilation is pretty interesting. Just basically, all time is a matter of perception. So it is the perception that is altered through the gate going into another world. So in chapter 3, Edmund and the Wardrobe, Edmund mocks her instead of being curious about the wardrobe, or even curious and just being a kid. Instead of just being a little, I think he's 9 or 10, just being a little kid and thinking, hey man, you know what? That's this. We can play around this. He just gets toxic on her, and mockingly he follows her to the wardrobe, and Lucy opens up the wardrobe and shows them the coats and tells them, you just keep going into the back and it's going to get cold. And then you're going to open it up and there's going to be a lamppost and a bunch of snow. And they went to the back and it was hard wood. The portal to the wardrobe wasn't there. So what changed? What changed? When innocent Lucy by herself went through, it was wide open. She went right on into the other world. She came back and told 3 people, one of them being very toxic, and there's no wardrobe portal there. It's just a wardrobe. So she was pretty embarrassed about that. It didn't work. So later in chapter 3, when her older brother and older sister go on about their business, Edmund doesn't let it go. Edmund doesn't let it go. You know, and Edmund's kind of like twisting the dagger in here, and mocking her, and he's not being cool at all. Here's where it's found. Here's where Susan, our older sister, says, "Why, you goose," said Susan, putting her head inside and pulling the fur coats apart. It's just an ordinary wardrobe. Look, there's the back to it. So the older brother and older sister found it to be an ordinary wardrobe. And Edmund made more fun of her. But when they left, Edmund decided to check it out after little Susan had disappeared again. When little Susan had disappeared again, Edmund decided to look for her in the wardrobe. Instead, not looking for a portal, not looking for a gate, but looking for Lucy, he moves the coats aside and finds the snow in the lamppost. So Edmund goes in, but Lucy's not there. Lucy has already gone somewhere else in Narnia. Edmund finds himself in Narnia. Now, Edmund told everybody, it was making fun of her about it, but now, not looking for the portal, but just looking for her, he runs into the portal. The portal's open. He goes into it. But this is when Edmund, who's always cynical, he's very negative, he doesn't run into a friend. He actually runs into the White Witch in Narnia. And she tempts him very easily with a dish called Turkish Delight. It's his favorite dish, Turkish Delight, and she's able to conjure it up. using these little imps or dwarves. And she instantly knows that this is a threat. This is a human that doesn't belong in our Narnia. And she knows that that human is a threat. But she also knows if there's one human, there must be three more because of an ancient prophecy about 4 humans. So she instantly begins to set a trap. And she tempts him. And he eats the Turkish delight. Turkish delight's not even real. In Narnia, he thinks it's real. It tastes delicious. But it ends up making him sick later on. So she appeals to his vanity and gluttony. And the vanity part is she promised to make him a king and give him power. And she played on his resentment and his desire to be special. This is how chapter 3 ends. Chapter 3, little Lucy comes back, tells the others they're looking for a portal and can't find it. But when no one was looking for a portal and was looking for Lucy, Edmund found that the wardrobe was indeed a portal. Goes through the portal, passes the lamppost, runs into the White Witch, who happened to be in the area. Runs into the White Witch, and she instantly basically gives him what she gives him what he asked for. So it's almost like, I wouldn't say metaphor, but more like a simile. It's like the controllers, they're going to be there when you're ready to make that executive decision to serve them. The controllers are there. They have the power to give you what you want. The controllers do give you what you want. He really wanted that Turkish delight, and he's willing to lure his brother and his 2 sisters to the White Witch. This is the agreement. Just bring your brothers and sisters to me. So he took that Turkish delight and he ate it, and he's totally in agreement. So Edmund is negative. I'm not gonna go as far as saying he's evil yet. He's still a child, but he's very negative and he's very self-serving and selfish. And one of the clues that the author, C.S. Lewis tells us in the narrative, because he says it 2 or 3 times, when Edmund goes into Narnia, he gets kind of sick. The others do not. This is really interesting because in book 1, when the witch was in the wood between the worlds, which is like a holy place that is totally good and well, it's good or neutral, but it's not evil, and it's all the pools lead to many different worlds, and it's not a place you can control. This is owned by the gods, whatever. It's not a place you can command and control or anything. It's just a place. It's just a conjunct between worlds. The wood between the worlds. In the wood between the worlds, the witch just got sicker and sicker and sicker. Here now that Narnia has been turned into a winter with never a Christmas, here now the witch is strong, but Edmund, who is negative, goes into Narnia and he's not feeling good. Something about Narnia is not resonating with him. Lucy didn't feel any of that. That's little Edmund right there running through going through the wardrobe. He finds the Narnia forest. Runs into this girl here. There's Edmund right there, standing at the bottom. Here's a little dwarf reindeer, and there she is, the White Witch. This is the witch who destroyed her own world in book 1. Made it into our world in the city of London, but was tricked back into the wood between the worlds by the children, one of them being Diggory, who is now Professor Kirk. This is his house. This is his wardrobe. And this is the witch who is now in Narnia. She took over this world. And that would be all all of chapter 3. So we got to share. So what's making me do? We got to share each one. All right. I'm getting good at it though. All right. So we got this little fine feller. All right. Yes, the wood between the worlds. A good correlate would be the tertiary space. That's right. You know, Justin Oyola, there is a Netflix series that they were using uniformitarian principles such as planets and moons and all that to describe the tertiary field of when two different planes, both being inhabited with intelligent beings, both of them having their own ecosystems and worlds, actually collide and creating a third field. They tried to do the same concept in using uniformitarian principles, so it didn't really work. They had to turn it into an alien type thing, but it's called three-body problem. The three-body problem. That's what it was called. They didn't do a really good job. Good special effects. They didn't really do a good job of it, but basically they were trying to go for the whole tertiary effect. All right, let's see. So, chapter 4, Turkish Delight. That's the name of the chapter. The White Witch craftily manipulates Edmund, feeding him the enchanted Turkish delight, but it's not real. It just tastes real to him. So here is a soul asking for somebody who is in power and position, who wants them to do evil, but they have the power to give them anything they want. And he wants Turkish delight in a world that doesn't even have Turks, in a world that doesn't even have all these type of recipes. She makes it happen. He gets Turkish delight. He eats it. It's delicious. He wants more and more, but it makes him sick. The fact that he can get it on call, it begins to cloud his judgment. And because he wants it, it becomes addictive to him. So being addictive to him, he wants more and more. And crazy, she cuts him off. She totally cuts him off. And when she cuts him off, she says, well, if you bring your brother and your two sisters to me, I will give you all the Turkish delight you would like. And I'll give you positions of power and all kinds of magical sweets. And he can't say no. He's just a little kid. He's controlled by his impulses. He can't say no. So this is how chapter 4 unfolded. This little guy here is giving him some Turkish delight. At first, Edmund tried to remember that it is rude to speak with one's mouth full. But soon he forgot about this and thought only of trying to shovel down as much Turkish delight as he could. And the more he ate, the more he wanted to eat. And he never asked himself why the queen would be so inquisitive. She got him to tell her that he had one brother and two sisters. Here's another piece of evidence about his negativity, about his immaturity and selfishness. So the witch is promising to make him a king and a ruler and to give him Turkish delight and all kinds of magical sweets. And then the witch continues with the promises and says, I will make your brother a duke and your sisters duchesses. And that's when he replies, there's nothing special about them, said Edmund. And anyway, I could always bring them some other time. He wanted to go with the White Witch to the White Witch's house. She stopped him. She didn't want him to come to the house until he had his brother and sisters. Edmund was already feeling uncomfortable from having eaten too many sweets. And when he heard that the lady he had made friends with was a dangerous witch, he felt even more uncomfortable. but he still wanted to taste that Turkish delight. So he made it back. He made it back. Oh no, excuse me, no. He runs into Lucy. And he runs into Lucy, and Lucy tells the story. After the witch is gone, and he's trying to make his way back to the lamp, runs into Lucy, and he and Lucy talk, and Lucy fills him in on who the White Witch is. I say, said Lucy, you do look awful, Edmund. Don't you feel well? I'm all right, said Edmund, but this was not true. He was feeling very sick. So Lucy helped him find the wardrobe to get back to their world. That's the first 4 chapters in a nutshell. It's a very simple story, guys. It's not what is there, 17 chapters, but the book is small. A lot happening. The book is small. Not a lot of print per page. But still, it's a really good read. It's a really good read if you just want to go down nostalgia lane if you're an adult. So chapter 5. Hold on. Oh, wow. This is just so bizarre. Did it pop up for y'all too? Nope, it didn't. No, it didn't. Okay. Yeah, StreamYard's so weird. I literally have to share each individual file. I should have left them all in the same file. All right. Share screen again. Window. Got it. Y'all should be able to see that now. Big Will Beats, don't do it, man. That Turkish Delight's not worth it, man. Listen, you can transpose what I'm telling you about the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the White Witch offering you anything you want. In Edmund's case, he's a little kid. He wanted some Turkish Delight. But you can transpose that to the modern world. Just prior to 2016. Yeah, it would have been all these, politicians and all these, I don't want to call them the elite, but you know who I'm talking about. All the movers and shakers in the world, all the wealthy in the world. Yeah, their White Witch was Epstein, whatever his name is. Yeah, offered them anything they wanted. You know what I mean? And yeah, after they started participating and realized that, oh, shoot, they're addicted and now they can't get out of it. And, now they're being blackmailed. And, you already know the story, guys. We're not dumb. They don't ever have to release those files, but we're not dumb. We know how things operate. All these people, what happens to them after they start participating in these activities and they started, they get a little sick. Yeah, they're pretty sick. If you don't think so, watch the Grammys. All right. Look at the horror on some of their faces when they receive different rewards. Famous actors and actresses. It's a lot more going on in those Grammys than you think, guys. Let's see. So, back on this side of the wardrobe in England, that's the name of the chapter, back on this side of the wardrobe. So they returned, Lucy and Edmund returned to the real world from Narnia through the portal in the wardrobe. And Lucy's excited, and she wants to tell Peter and Susan, hey, well, man, we did this and we saw this, and hey, you know what? And then she turns around and she asks Edmund, isn't that right, Edmund? And this is where you see into this kid's soul. This is where you see into this kid's soul. When she tells the story and Peter and Susan are listening to their baby sister tell this, she came back with Edmund standing there. So when she says, isn't that right, Edmund? This is how Peter says, what's all this about, Ed? And now we come to one of the nastiest things in the story. Up to that moment, Edmund had been feeling sick and sulky and annoyed with Lucy for being right. that there was a portal in the wardrobe. But he hadn't made up his mind what to do. When Peter suddenly asked him the question, he decided all at once to do the meanest and most spiteful thing he could think of. He decided to let Lucy down. Yeah, it's pretty shitty what he did. It's pretty shitty what he did. He lied. Susan said, "Well, tell us, Ed." And Edmund gave a superior look, as if he were far older than Lucy. There was really only a year's difference. And then a little snigger and said, "Oh, yes, Lucy and I have been playing, pretending that all her story about a country in the wardrobe is true. Just for fun, of course. There's nothing there, really." That, even for a little kid, is devious. We'll get to this part in a minute. We're not ready for that yet. So that really hurt Lucy. She cries about it. And Peter and Susan, being the older sister and the older brother, they just see Lucy as wild imagination, because Edmund, who they never believed would lie about this, had just basically confirmed what they already suspected, that it's Lucy's imagination and there is no portal in the wardrobe and there is no Narnia and White Witch and none of that. So Edmund killed it all with that. And Lucy goes off crying. She finds a hiding spot. She goes off crying. So the children later that evening go into the study, and it's amazing. All the books and lamps and inkwells. And this is the study of Professor Kirk. When they go in there, now this is Diggory Kirk of the Magician's Nephew from book 1, who has actually been to Narnia. And when they go in there, they talk to him and they tell him about what are we going to do about little Lucy and her imagination and all that. Professor Kirk kind of surprises them. He talks to them in a way that they were not expecting. So let's see. So the professor literally says, it's she may not be lying, and likely to be true. If there really is a door in this house that leads to some other world, and I should warn you that this is a very strange house, and even I know very little about it. If I say she had got into another world, I should not be at all surprised to find that the other world had a separate time of its own, so that however long you stayed there, it would never take up any of our time. This is the professor right here talking to him. This is the older one. This is Peter and Susan listening to the professor, and it kind of shocks them. Like, damn, he's literally saying that there could be a portal here. So it's in this chapter that Peter, here to the left, and Susan, the older brother and the older sister, not only realize that Lucy is telling the truth, that there is a portal, because after talking to the professor, they go to the wardrobe. Not only do they realize it's true, but they also realize that Edmund is a liar. This is the two kids and the professor. Pretty cool little real simple line drawings, pen and ink. Pretty good. Impressed me. I like it. So now we move on to number 6. Right. So, yeah, it's in that chapter that they realize, man, that Diggory's like, man, not cool. Not cool at all. Well, actually, it's not. No, they don't find out about not Diggory. They don't find about Edmund lying yet. Yeah, I think it's this chapter. Yeah, I missed something somewhere. I thought I had a photo of the page. I thought I had a photo of the page where. Oh, it does come up later. When okay, so it's time to share my screen again. All right, you should see this now. This is chapter 6, Into the Forest. So Peter and Susan decide to go through the wardrobe. And when they do, Susan's like, what do we do next? And why? We go and explore the wood, of course. That's Peter. That's what Peter wants to do. So Susan and Peter decide to put the coats on that are in the wardrobe. And Peter's like, oh man, those coats aren't ours, so we can't do it. And then Susan, being a little bit smarter here, is I'm sure nobody would mind. It isn't as if we wanted to take them out of the house. We shan't take them even out of the wardrobe. She's right, because the entire world of Narnia is in the wardrobe. So I never thought of that, Sue. Of course, now you put it that way, I see. No one could say you had bagged a coat as long as you leave it in the wardrobe where you found it. And I suppose this whole country is in the wardrobe. So Susan and Peter put on the coats. Now, I am going to again take this a little bit further. You see in my handwriting off to the left, I wrote avatars. The portal provided the two souls that passed through it new avatars that would allow them to navigate into this new world. This new world is cold. This new world is snowy. It's been over a century the White Witch has taken over this world, so it's very extremely cold. They would die if they didn't take those coats. So they took the coats. The coats, it could be like the Christian mysteries. To he who overcometh will I give him a white garment. The one who said that was the door, the way, the truth, and the life, the gate, the portal. So these are just basically sentiments of the mystery traditions. So Edmund says, I say, began Edmund presently, oughtn't we to be bearing a bit more to the left? That is, if we are aiming for the lamppost. He had forgotten for the moment that he must pretend never to have been in the wood before. So Peter and Susan were leading the way. And Lucy and Edmund were with them. And then Edmund messed up. Edmund messed up and literally admitted that he had been in there before. And he had forgotten for the moment that he must pretend never to have been in the wood before. The moment the words were out of his mouth, he realized that he had given himself away. Everyone stopped. Everyone stared at him. Peter whistled. So you really were here, he said. That time Lou said she met you in here and you made out she was telling lies. There was a long silence. Well, of all the poisonous little beasts, said Peter, and shrugged his shoulders and said no more. There seemed indeed no more to say. And the four of them just kept traveling toward the lamppost. Again, as negativity comes out, as they're traveling, in Narnia, looking around, he says, this is a pretty good washout. said Edmund. Not much good coming here. There's a lot of statements in here that show Edmund's personality. Little things like this I just wanted to draw to your attention. This is where they find Mr. and Mrs. Beaver. In Narnia, the four kids come across Mr. and Mrs. Beaver. Again, wandering through Narnia, Edmund is still negative. A lot we could do, said Edmund, when we haven't even got anything to eat. He's still thinking of that Turkish delight. This is all same chapter. Oh, and no chance of dinner either, said Edmund. It's just more and more. It's just over and over and over. Everything out of his mouth, man, is very negative. So they meet Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, and they learn about the prophecy of the four children of Narnia, and that two daughters of Eve and two sons of Adam were going to come to Narnia and sit on the thrones. And when they did, there would be two kings and two queens, and they would help defeat the White Witch and restore Narnia to its former glory. This is the prophecy that's known to all the Narnians. And Mr. and Mrs. Beaver are excited, and they help. Even though they know the White Witch is going to come for them, they go ahead and help the four children. And they're going to take them somewhere because they know something, which you'll find out in chapter 7 about the identity of someone else. So that's all of that chapter. Again, we have to exit out of that, and we have to go into that other chapter. Share my screen. Yeah, Edmund's a little shit. He's a little shit. All right, you should see that now. Little black and white illustration. So good. Yeah, man. All right, so we are now at chapter 7, A Day with the Beavers. Here's the beavers. Here's Mr. Beaver. They catch Mr. Beaver spying on him. He's like, damn, y'all are sons of Adam. Tells them to follow him. Cool little illustrations. So here's where they start talking about. They've already told him the prophecy. Mr. and Miss Beaver have already told him the prophecy of the two sons of Adam and the two daughters of Eve coming to Narnia. And that's who Mr. and Miss Beaver think the four kids are, because it's two human females, two human males. But they tell them also about Aslan and the history of Narnia. And Aslan is the great lion. He's a true king. And they explain how the White Witch has ruled tyrannically for 100 years, turning her enemies to stone and preventing the arrival of spring. And what's really interesting is during this entire period of time, Aslan has not been in Narnia. Aslan is not a resident of Narnia. Aslan is some type of benefactor who comes into the world of Narnia. Aslan is a great lion, and they're all excited because Aslan has appeared in the land. Yeah, he hasn't been here. He hasn't been here for over 100 years. And the White Witch has been petrifying people like a Medusa. She has a wand, and all the denizens, all the unicorns and the giants and the elves and all the dwarves and all the fauns and sprites and centaurs, every dryads and I forgot. There's a whole list of them. But all these creatures that have opposed the White Witch are now statues in her courtyard. And sometimes you can see the statues in the forests in Narnia. And it's all from the White Witch. So in chapter 7, that's when the beavers explain all this history and the White Witch and Aslan the lion and how he has returned to Narnia. The people, all the denizens of the woods are talking about it. They say Aslan is on the move, perhaps has already landed. And now a very curious thing happened. None of the children knew who Aslan was any more than you do. But the moment the beaver had spoken these words, everyone felt quite different. Perhaps it has sometimes happened to you in a dream that someone says something which you don't understand, but in the dream it feels as if it had some enormous meaning, either a terrifying one, which turns the whole dream into a nightmare, or else a lovely meaning, too lovely to put into words, which makes the dream so beautiful that you remember it all your life and are always wishing you could get into that dream again. It was like that now. At the name of Aslan, each one of the children felt something jump in its inside. Edmund felt a sensation of mysterious horror. What? Another clue about our friend Edmund here. Peter felt suddenly brave and adventurous. Susan felt as if some delicious smell or some delightful strain of music had just floated by her. And Lucy got the feeling you have when you wake up in the morning and realize that it is the beginning of the holidays or the beginning of summer. Very interesting. So no one except Edmund felt any difficulty about trusting the beaver. Wow. More and more we're learning about Edmund. Rusty Woodpecker, keep it PG-13, man. Let's see. All right. So that would be, there are the 4 kids with their coats. What are their coats? Avatars, white robes. To he who overcometh will I give him a white robe with a new name, which is a new identity. The whole idea of having the white robe was what? Is to get through the gate of Rostal. In the ancient Sumerian traditions, you could not pass through the gates without the Pala. P-A-L-A. What was the Pala? The Pala was an energy that you put on, and Ninhursag used to put on the Pala, which is described as a robe. And the power of the Pala got her through the gates, got her through the portals. In the Chronicles of Narnia, the portal is a wardrobe. What is a wardrobe? It holds robes. It is a architectural structure that guards garments. Shepherd of Hermas text, if you have not read it, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. A wardrobe is a protector of robes. It is a portal. The robe is necessary for you to have a vehicle into whatever world you're passing into. There's a lot of symbolism in this book. C.S. Lewis understood the Christian mysteries. All right. And I do believe that sums up there's Mr. Beaver there. He's all cool. His little web feet. Mr. Beaver. Oh, that's Mrs. Beaver sewing, getting ready. She's getting things ready because they're going on a journey. Here they are hanging out with the beavers. Now, while they're hanging out, this is initially Mr. and Mrs. Beaver. They're all eating a meal. They're all talking about all these things, but it's in the middle of this conversation that Edmund excuses himself and nobody notices. During this conversation, Edmund leaves the table. Then he never comes back. It's only later on noticed that Edmund's gone. So everybody goes to sleep after dinner. And I'm going to have to take it to the next chapter. We're on chapter 8. Let me share that. Man, I'm getting the hang of this. All right, you should see the text. So they're still at dinner. Chapter 7, they're talking at chapter 8. They're still talking. This is before they go to sleep. And they ask, "Oh yes, tell us about Aslan," said several voices at once. For once again, that strange feeling like the first signs of spring, like good news had come over them. "Who is Aslan?" asked Susan. "Aslan?" said Mr. Beaver. "Why, don't you know? He is the king. He is the lord of the whole wood. But not often here, you understand. Never in my time or my father's time. But the word has reached us that he has come back." All right. So this language in just 2 paragraphs, we already have our kinsman redeemer motif here. We already have benefactor over many worlds. Why? He is the king of the wood. In the very first book, we learned about the wood between the worlds. It's all the worlds. That means Aslan is the king of all worlds. He's the king of the wood. Now, he hasn't been here in a long time, so they're awaiting on his return. This is a description of benefactors for all kinds of religions. They're not here, but they all vowed to return. What about Bokika? Vowed to return. Quetzalcoatl vowed to return. Varuna vowed to return. Viracocha vowed to return. Jesus' second coming vowed to return. So we have this same idea, this concept. Aslan is a benefactor, and he has entered the construct for a purpose. He doesn't stay here because this is only one world out of many worlds that he is the king and lord over. So this is what we have here. C.S. Lewis has really laid it on thick. Deal. Let's see. Why don't you know he's the king? All right. "That's what I don't understand, Mr. Beaver," said Peter. "I mean, isn't the witch herself human?" "She'd like us to believe it," said Mr. Beaver. "And it's on that she bases her claim to be queen. But she's no daughter of Eve. She comes of your father Adam's." Here, Mr. Beaver bowed. "Your father Adam's first wife. Her they call Lilith. And she was one of the jinn. That's what she comes from on one side. And on the other side comes from the giants. No, there isn't a drop of real human blood in the witch. That's why she's bad all through," Mr. Beaver and said, "Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, Mr. Beaver," said Mrs. Beaver. "True enough, Mrs. Beaver," replied he. "There may be 2 views about humans, meaning no offense to the present company. But there's no two views about things that look like humans and aren't. Mr. Beaver is trying to tell the children that there is a pre-human race that can look and act just like humans, but they're not, and they come from a different branch, a previous fallen race. How do we know? Because he called them the jinn. In our world, the jinn is a race that pre-existed our own, that were ended in a cataclysm. This is Arabian tradition. This is Middle Eastern tradition. The jinn have become genies. They've become disembodied spirits, ghosts, poltergeists, all kinds of things. Whites. But the jinn are intelligences that resided in a pre-Adamic world. But there's no two views about things that look like humans and aren't. C.S. Lewis has given us the business. But in general, take my advice. When you meet anything that's going to be human and isn't yet, or used to be human once and isn't now, or ought to be human and isn't, you keep your eyes on it and feel for your hatchet. And that's why the witch is always on the lookout for any humans in Narnia. She's been watching for you this many a year. And if she knew there were 4 of you, she'd be more dangerous still. So, again, we have a warning from a denizen of another world telling 4 humans at the table to beware, because there are things that look just like you, but pay attention, they're not you. By this time in the conversation, they realize that Edmund is gone. They don't even know how long he's been gone. But Mr. and Mrs. Beaver put it together that, oh, he was at the table with us when we were talking about the prophecy. He was at the table with us when we were talking about Aslan. So Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, without any haste, say, we need to pack up and go. We need to pack up and go. All right. That deal. And Edmund secretly left to go find the White Witch. So let's look up the next chapter. Sharing the screen. Should see the text now. So C.S. Lewis, in his curious narrative style, goes on. Chapter 8. What happened after dinner? No, I'm sorry. This is chapter 9. Into the witch's house. So, and now, of course, you want to know what happened to Edmund. He had eaten his share of the dinner, but he hadn't really enjoyed it because he was thinking all the time about Turkish delight. And there's nothing that spoils the taste of good ordinary food half as much as the memory of bad magic food. And he had heard the conversation and hadn't enjoyed it much either, because he kept on thinking that the others were taking no notice of him and trying to give him the cold shoulder. They weren't, but he imagined it. And then he had listened until Mr. Beaver told them about Aslan, and until he had heard the whole arrangement for meeting Aslan at the stone table. It was then that he began very quietly to edge himself under the curtain which hung over the door. For the mention of Aslan gave him a mysterious and horrible feeling, just as it gave the others a mysterious and lovely feeling. He is receiving from Aslan is divinity, and he is good, pure, and holy. Edmund is not, and he doesn't resonate with him at all. So it's a mysterious and horrible feeling, unlike the other three children. There's little Edmund right there. I'm gonna see if I can simulate the running. There he is right there. Look at him. He's running. He's going. He's moving. I've seen some people take some images and put them on Grok AI and make them do all kinds of things, man. It's crazy. I still haven't tried that. But here's little Edmund running through Narnia, trying to get to the witch's house. Little badass. And there he comes across the great castle. There's the witch's house. Cool little ink drawings. Captures the imagination. Little boy looking across at this giant house. Look at that. Man, it looks like it was built by Tartarians. Hold up. So he makes it to the gate. He sees all these statues. There's a great lion statue there, dwarves. He finds giants. There's trees that are turned to statues, trees that can walk like a man, griffins and unicorns and elves, sprites. They're all in here turned to stone. These are the victims of the White Witch. So he comes across this wolf, big old giant wolf, man, that represents the witch. He goes and the wolf basically tells him, okay, I'm gonna take you in there. And it's here at the house of the White Witch that Edmund talks to the White Witch, and he realizes he may have messed up. Remember, he's just a little kid, but he's thinking, damn, he may have messed up, because he doesn't find the White Witch to be a friend at all. And that's basically how the journey is how that chapter ends. We're on chapter 10. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 chapters left. We're on chapter 10. All right, so share. These chapters are these chapters are real short, guys. They really are. Great story though. So Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, they're putting on their mittens and coats and boots, and they're packing up everything, and they're gone. Now that they know Edmund's gone, they have to leave. They know the White Witch has a sleigh, and they know that sleigh is fast. So they're gonna go all without any delay. So what's really interesting is while they're escaping Mr. Beaver's and Mrs. Beaver's house, while the 3 children and the 2 beavers are heading toward the great stone table where they're supposed to meet Aslan, something has changed in Narnia, because Santa Claus is delivering presents and people are shocked. The denizens of the forest are absolutely shocked to see Santa Claus land and pass out presents to different denizens of the wood in the forest, because for over 100 years the White Witch has made it an eternal winter, and Christmas has never arrived. That's what happened to Narnia. It's like all time. Ever since she entered, winter right before Christmas, it got put on standstill, and Christmas never arrived. And here it is. Santa Claus hasn't been seen in over 100 years, and Santa Claus appears in the story, delivering presents. And the denizens of the wood now know something has changed. A spell has been broken. And they start linking it to the fact that after all this time, suddenly Aslan has made an appearance in Narnia, and it broke the spell. And Santa Claus is delivering presents. That's what happens while they're packing up. So everyone knew him because though you see people of this sort only in Narnia, you see pictures of them and hear them talked about even in our world, the world on this side of the wardrobe door. But when you really see them in Narnia, it is rather different. Some of the pictures of Father Christmas in our world make him look only funny and jolly. But now that the children actually stood looking at him, they didn't find it quite like that. He was so big and so glad and so real that they all became quite still. They felt very glad, but also solemn. So Father Christmas is more like a deity. He's like a deity. And the children realize, wow, man, we know who Santa Claus. He's called Santa Claus over here, but Father Christmas over here is like a deity. And the denizens of the wood love him, and he delivers the presents the things that they wanted the most. And that's that chapter. And we move on to that's chapter 10. We now move on to chapter 11. In chapter 10, we find out that spring has begun to emerge in Narnia, and there's whispers in the wood that spring has appeared, and the eternal winter has begun melting. So we get to chapter 11. Chapter 11 is titled Aslan is Nearer. So let's see what's in chapter 11. Oh, we got a few things. Again, we share screen. Y'all should see that right now. We have Edmund at the witch's castle. And the little dwarf brings him something to eat. Shake and Bake. Shake and Bake says, Santa, I'm going to put you on screen. Santa comes in and ushers in what? I'm missing something. What's Santa bring in? What's he representing? Santa is different from Aslan. But apparently, as long as the White Witch is 100% in control of Narnia, the winter would always stay, but Christmas would never come. She literally stopped time in the winter, but also disallowed Christmas to arrive. So it's been like that for over 100 years. But as soon as Aslan makes an appearance in Narnia, the winter begins melting into like spring. And suddenly, for the first time in over 100 years, Father Christmas appears with his sleigh and reindeer, stops into the woods and starts passing out presents as if nothing had ever stopped or happened. And this only happened because Aslan's presence. There. In Narnia, it's normal for Father Christmas to pass out presents. It hasn't happened in over 100 years. All right. Let's see here. Now, chapter 11. Aslan is nearer. All right, so the children meet Aslan while Edmund is far away with the White Witch. And he doesn't get Turkish Delight. He wants Turkish Delight, and he's pouting because the White Witch is mad at him. She won't give him Turkish Delight. Instead, she gives him some other food. It don't really taste good. I agree. Krampus is kind of cool. Yeah, man. Edmund finds out that he does not want to be with the White Witch. She is no good. The White Witch says, "What?" She springs from her sledge and taking a few strides nearer to the terrified. Oh, I forgot. She snatches up Edmund, gets in the sled, has a dwarf drive him, and she's going straight for the stone table. Or Mr. and Mrs. Beaver's house or the stone table. One of them, she knows where to go. She's in the sled and she's going. She takes Edmund with her, and Edmund's terrified. He's like, man, he does not like this White Witch at all. This is not what he signed up for. He knows that she is not going to make him a king. She's not giving him any more Turkish delight. Everything that he had signed up for, he realized that she's not who he thought. And initially, he didn't really think that any danger was going to happen to his brother Peter, sister Susan, and little sister Lucy. But now he's starting to realize while he's on the sled, on the sleigh, that maybe this witch is trying to hurt us. So this is just, remember, he may be selfish and he may have a little tinge of evil, but he's still a little child. So they come across some let's see. They come across some forest animals on this, and the witch confronts them, and she says, "What?" roared the witch, springing from the sledge and taking a few strides nearer to the terrified animals. "He has not been here. He cannot have been here. How dare you? But no. Say you have been lying, and you shall even now be forgiven." These animals told her that Father Christmas had just left. So at that moment, one of the young squirrels lost its head completely. He has, it squeaked, beating its little spoon on the table. Edmund saw the witch bite her lips so that a drop of blood appeared on her white cheek. Then she raised her wand. "Oh, don't, please don't," shouted Edmund. But even while he was shouting, she had waved her wand, and instantly, where the merry party had been, there were only statues of creatures, one with its stone fork fixed forever halfway to its stone mouth. Seated round a stone table on which there were stone plates and a stone plum pudding. Then the witch threatened Edmund, told him, "As for you," and she just goes off and threatens him. Here's the party she turned to stone with her wand. They suffered the Medusa effect. And here's poor Edmund in the sled of the witch. There's the dwarf. He's evil. And there's poor Edmund like, "Oh, what have I got myself into?" I know that feeling, Edmund. So now she's so pissed because the closer they get to Aslan, the snow disappears and it becomes more like spring. Then it becomes like summer. The further they get away from her castle, the more Narnia has become like it used to be, and they have to ditch the sledge. So now the dwarf is just walking Edmund. Now he's just total prisoner. Nothing worked out for him at all. That's that Turkish delight got you. Ask Tom Hanks. Let's see here. So yeah, he's total. He's out of there. So now let's move on to the next chapter. Oh no, we got one more here. Oh yeah, okay. That's I already said that. Okay, that was more. They get closer to Aslan, it's more like summer. All right, now we're moving on to 12. Nice. Share the screen window. So while Edmund is away and the witch is coming, all the denizens of the forest in that area have gotten together and they're hanging around Aslan. Aslan, the lion's right here. All the denizens of the forest get together, and Peter and Aslan, they have this conversation, and basically come to find out Peter's going to lead the army. Peter's the older brother. He's going to lead the army, and when the White Witch gets there, because the White Witch is summoning her own army as well, and there's going to be a battle. In the battle, because the White Witch attacks, and in the battle, Edmund is freed. Edmund is delivered from the White Witch. He's freed from the White Witch, but there's all kinds of the White Witch is using her wand, and she's turning some of them into stone, and it's going back and forth, and it gets so bad that Aslan basically actually he makes a deal with the White Witch, and Peter in the forest, the denizens of Narnia realize Peter shows courage. He's growing into his prophesied role of King of Narnia. So this is a pretty good little illustration. It's the only thing I took out of that chapter, that whole chapter right here. This is artist did a pretty good job capturing the deal. Did a real good job of that, actually. So we go to chapter 13, Deep Magic. Let's see. Share. Oh, I might need to open that. There we go. Again, pretty good little illustrations. But chapter 13 is called Deep Magic from the Dawn of Time. And the witch has a speech between the two armies, and she's basically technically right. They have to give up Edmund. They have to give up Edmund because Edmund signed a contract with her. Pay attention. She turns the focus on Edmund. Edmund's been delivered and saved in the conflict, but now she pulls a tech and says, "Hey, you have to deliver Edmund to me. Edmund belongs to me." And basically, by the laws of whatever magic runs Narnia, they're describing a contract-based relationship, meaning Edmund agreed to something and received something for that agreement, but Edmund didn't deliver, even though he had already received in the contract. The person he contracted with had already given him value, but he hadn't returned it as per the contract. He was supposed to deliver up Peter and Susan and Lucy, but he had never done that. But he did eat all he wanted of the Turkish delight of that initially, and some magic candy or whatever, and whatever. But the Aslan listens to all this, him being noble and deity and divine and all that. He listens to this and he realizes the witch is not wrong. The witch is not wrong. So there is agreement between Edmund and her, and it's not been satisfied. So very interesting turn of events, how the focus comes on Edmund now. It's following some ancient magical law, and Aslan decides to step forward and speak privately with the witch. And when he speaks privately with the witch, Aslan basically, he's going to provide himself as substitute for Edmund. Now, you guys already know, we talked about this in Archaix before. This is the scapegoating. This is the origin of human sacrifice. It is It is finding a willing victim who will place substitute for the community, and the community will lay hands on and transfer all their guilt, all their debt, and all their wrongdoing onto the victim, who is going to willingly give up their life and carry all their burdens to the other side so that they can live free of guilt and obligation in the present life. This is an ancient concept. It's a Bronze Age institution. We've talked about it a lot in Archaix. This is what Aslan's doing. He's going to lay down his life as a substitute so the human Edmund can live. And in Aslan's mind, that means Edmund lives, then the prophecy is fulfilled, and the 4 kings and queens, the 4 humans, become the 2 kings and 2 queens of Narnia, fulfilling the prophecy, ending the reign of the White Witch. This is how all this is unfolding. The White Witch hears Aslan say that he will lay down his life for Edmund, and she's like, oh, this is great, this is awesome, because she has no intention of honoring her word. She's going to kill Aslan and then kill the kids. So this is what happens. This is how chapter 13 ends, with the agreement that he is going to substitute himself for the traitor, because Edmund is considered a traitor to the witch. It's actually the not fulfilling a contract. So this gets us to chapter 14. All right, so here's something one thing I wanted to notice was, so as the others drew nearer, Aslan turned to meet them, bringing Edmund with him. So this is after he talked to the witch. He brings Edmund back, and he says, "Here is your brother," he said, "and there is no need to talk to him about the past." So this is really deep, because it's a two-way street. Not only is Edmund not going to suffer the consequences of a contract he made with evil, but Aslan's sacrifice of immolation, giving himself over to the evil to be killed as a substitute for Edmund, also erases Edmund's past deeds. "Here is your brother," he said, "and there is no need to talk to him about what is past," because throughout the whole book, Edmund's done nothing but bad shit. Now, Aslan's sacrifice negates the witch's power over Edmund, but equally cleans the slate for Edmund. Now, this is what happens in chapter 13. So we get to, this is still the witch talking. "You have a traitor there, Aslan," said the witch. Of course, everyone present knew that she meant Edmund, but Edmund had got past thinking about himself after all he'd been through and after the talk he had that morning. He just went on looking at Aslan. It didn't seem to matter what the witch said. "Well," said Aslan, "his offense was not against you." "Have you forgotten the deep magic?" asked the witch. So this is really interesting right here. Edmund's not sick anymore looking at Aslan. He's just looking at him with curiosity now. He doesn't even care what the witch is talking about. There has been a change in Edmund. This is before Aslan laid his life down for him. When Edmund was returned to his brothers and sisters after being treated by the witch, Edmund is not feeling sick in the presence of Aslan. Aslan's name doesn't make him feel bad anymore. He just looks at him with curiosity. This is the author telling us that Edmund has been changed. Something changed in him. So Aslan, uh, so Aslan makes a good point to the witch when the witch was trying to catch him like a loophole, about the traitor part, saying no. It says he may have been a traitor, because Edmund was a traitor. Who was he a traitor to? He was a traitor to Narnia. He was a traitor to Peter. He was a traitor to Susan. He was a traitor to Lucy. So the queen had no cause. There's no accusation here. Aslan said it he says that may be true, but he was not a traitor to you. And then he proceeded to deliver himself up for Edmund, which absolved Edmund for all of that. Here's the illustration of Aslan surrendering to the queen. Remember, she's a giantess. He's a big old lion, but she's a giantess. So she takes Aslan back to her camp into the stone table and has her army bind him hand and foot to the stone table. Which leads us to chapter 14. Chapter 14 is going to be rather short, but it's the most dramatic chapter in the entire story. I'm pretty sure many kids, I probably teared up too. I kind of believe I did, because I read the Chronicles of Narnia and I remember how emotional they were in the 80s, in the early 80s when I was a kid reading these books. So let me share my screen. Here's an image. We have nothing to share in this chapter except this picture, because the entire chapter is about how, it's very graphic, how C.S. Lewis did a really good job. It's basically a passion story. It is the passion it is the whipping of Jesus. It is all the torments, the people scorning him, thorn of crowns, getting on the cross, being stabbed. Everything horrific about the passion story is replicated here, but it's done to a lion. And all these evil woodland beings and the witches laughing hysterically as they take Aslan, and he does not fight. At first they're scared to death. They won't even touch him at first. It's like, even though he's still majestic and divine. So it's but after the witch has commanded them and he's tied, bound, chained, whatever, to the stone table, she doesn't just kill him. She first allows all the woodland denizens to humiliate him, and they shave off his mane and they shave off all his hair, and to where he looks a little bit smaller, and they start calling him a cat, and they start making fun of him, talking about, oh, maybe we should bring him a bowl of milk, and they call calling him and meowing him, and it's really graphic of how they humiliate him all throughout this deal. And never once did he fight back. And it starts to anger the witch that they can't provoke a reaction. So she sacrifices him on the stone table, which takes us, and the two little girls see this. Susan and Lucy watch this. They actually walked with Aslan all the way to the surrendering point. He's going to surrender himself. Lucy and it was late at night, and Lucy and Susan just sensed something was wrong, so they sought Aslan out. When they caught Aslan sneaking out of the camp at night so he wouldn't be seen, and they apprehended him, and they told him, we just want to be with you. You know what I mean? We don't care what you're doing. They even told him, we don't care where you're going or what you're doing. We just want to be with you. So Aslan told him, no one can bear this burden. No one can go with me. No. And then he takes a second thought. He says, but I would like the company. I would like you to come at least part of the way. So they did go part of the way, and he talked to them, and it's really interesting, the conversation. It's a pretty good book. So then he tells them they have to stop. They have to hide. And they got to personally watch what happened to him. And they shaved him down, and they plunged the dagger, and he killed him. Aslan was killed by the witch. So that's that chapter. Now we get to chapter 15. 3 chapters left. All right, let's share. All right. Chapter 15, Deeper Magic from Before the Dawn of Time. Okay. So, while the two girls still crouched in the bushes with their hands over their faces, they heard the voice of the witch calling out, "Now, follow me all, and we will set about what remains of this war. It will not take us long to crush the human vermin and the traitors now that the great fool, the great cat, lies dead." So, an interesting thing for C.S. Lewis to call Aslan is the fool. In some of the oldest traditions in the world, the fool was known as the trickster. But the trickster received its reputation not from humans. The trickster in Native American traditions, like Glooskap, the trickster was actually a hero to humans. The trickster put himself in harm's way all the time when other gods were trying to mess over humans. This is exactly in the Norse tradition the role of Loki. Loki was the trickster. He was to the Norse what Glooskap was to the ancient Algonquin tribes of North America. The trickster was a hero to humanity because other gods wanted to do things to abuse their powers for which humans could not defend themselves. And Loki or Glooskap or Enki would step forward in the gap and disallow that behavior or that activity. When the gods decided to end the human race in a great flood, it was Enki who told humanity what was about to happen and how to survive. When the Anunnaki wanted to attack the human race with divine weapons, technologically advanced weapons, it was Enki that stopped them in the councils and told them, "No, man, we can't use these weapons against humans." Enki was later considered the trickster because he opposed the gods. Humans loved him, but not the other deities, the other controllers. They didn't like it. Enki, Loki, Glooskap, and many other trickster gods like White Rabbit. These are all benefactors to the race. And the only entities that were tricked were those who sought to do humanity harm. This is the common denominator in all trickster traditions. Humans weren't the ones tricked. The ones tricked were the ones trying to do humanity harm. So to call Aslan the fool, C.S. Lewis is identifying Aslan as a benefactor, a trickster, and it's the witch who got fooled. It is the witch who became tricked. So, and that's exactly what we're about to find. Because she thought she could just kill Aslan because she thought Aslan was just like her. And she is of a race that can become a god to any world that she goes in. But she doesn't know Aslan is not the god of Narnia. Aslan is the king of the wood. Aslan is the lord of all the pools in the wood. The wood between the world contains pools. Each pool is a window into a whole nother world, and Aslan is the steward of them all. This is written almost 100 years ago by C.S. Lewis. So here's the evil. Here's the evil army coming together. They're about to go in the humans because the witch knew she wasn't going to keep her word. Aslan gave his life so that Edmund could live and the 4 humans be left alone, and that she would quit attacking. Her army would quit attacking. That was their agreement. But she killed Aslan and completely went against the agreement and instantly attacked with her army. While her army was getting together and marching toward Peter's army, Aslan's army of Narnia, all of a sudden mice started coming out, and they scared Lucy and Susan until they saw what the mice were doing. The mice came out of the woods and started eating the ropes and cords that had Aslan's body tied down. And then the stone table that Aslan was sacrificed on cracked. It broke. And the 2 girls looked, and they saw Aslan in full regalia, his fur coat and mane. He looked more powerful. Aslan had resurrected. And the girls asked him, "What is this? What is the meaning of this? We saw them kill you." And "It means," said Aslan, "that though the witch knew the deep magic, there is a magic deeper still which she did not know. Her knowledge goes back only to the dawn of time. But if she could have looked a little further back into the stillness and darkness before time dawned, she would have read there a different incantation. She would have known that when a willing victim who had committed no treachery was killed in a traitor's stead, the table would crack and death itself would start working backward." Let's see. I think that's it right there for that one. So Aslan resurrects. That's exactly what happened there. And the 2 girls, they get on Aslan, and this leads us straight into chapter 16. Everything's very fast paced in this book. Chapter 16, they are getting their paper. Some of you know exactly what I mean by that. They are catching their paper. How many ex-cons we got in the chat? I'm telling you now, they were catching their paper. I'm going to show you the pictures. Let's see. I'll give you all a little history lesson. Catching paper, guys. A lot of you don't know because you're not ex-cons. You don't know. So most of you, almost everybody here knows I spent over 2.5 decades in Texas prison. Most of it in maximum security. And I'm going to tell you right now, before I show you these pictures, it's catching paper. The reason fighting is called catching paper in prison is because when new guys go to a cell block, you got to have your paper with you. And when you go on maximum security, you're gonna have like me. When I went on maximum security blocks, there would be white guys there that sometime during that day I first got there, or maybe the next day. Sometimes they give you time to settle in. Someone's gonna ask me who I am, where I'm from, what unit I came from, and all that. And they already got law library clerks, and they've already got manufacturing and logistics clerks that have access to computers who have already looked up everything about you. They know why you're in prison. They know exactly what cell blocks you've been on at other farms. They know everything. There's no secrets in prison. So it's just too small of a micro society. So they want to see if you're going to be honest, and it's called a paper check. So everybody's got, in Texas prison, everybody's got a folder. So I was on close custody all the time because I was maximum security, and I always getting caught with cell phones, got caught with knives. I got caught with all kinds of things. And you guys know my story. When I go to cell blocks, people ask, I pretty much knew who to ask for. Hey man, who's shot calling here for whatever. And I give them my little deal, and they already know all the stuff anyway. They want to see how honest you're going to be. And yeah, that's why guys with real bad crimes, real messed up crimes, yeah, they don't do well. They don't do well at all. But dudes go through your stuff and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we see how this is. So my situation was really unusual because John Ernesto and I, we carjacked that girl. We were both 17 and she was 19. And he ended up sexually assaulting her. I didn't do that, but I still got charged with it because I'm there the whole time. Now we ended up being nine hours, went to a restaurant, went to different places. Yeah, many times we run away and didn't. And that's why investigators were so perplexed about the whole situation. Multiple times run away and never did. But all she ever wanted was her daddy's car back. All she ever wanted was to put the car back in the garage so her dad wouldn't know that she took the Lexus out. So you guys, many of you already know the story. So anyway, my paper checks were very unusual because I took her to the police station and I wrote a full statement about everything that happened that night because they didn't sign up for that shit. So when I show my paperwork to people when I go to cell blocks, I'm not fading. I'm not fading the heat. That's why I survived so well in maximum security, 26 years in prison, everywhere I was. I wasn't fading what he was fading, a rape case. I'm fading. I have to convince people I'm not a snitch. So I'm like, dang, because it shows. I wrote a full statement against him about what he did. I took her to the police, and I wasn't cool with that shit. So my situation was very different. I had to tell people, no, man, I'm not telling nobody. That says I don't condone that shit. I wasn't a part of that shit. I didn't participate in that shit. I just got wrapped up in it. So when people went through my deals, and I always passed my paper checks. But that's where the term came from. It came from Texas. Well, it came from prison systems because a paper check was literally in the, when I went down in 1990. So it was literally you submitting your papers to other convicts who went through it and basically okayed you or no-kayed you. So, and sometimes if people didn't like what was in your paperwork, you fought. And a lot of times, even if your paperwork wasn't really that bad at all, nobody really cared, you still fought because people want to know. They want to know what your reaction is going to be in certain situations for whatever. And they sure as hell not going to let you have a seat at the table, on maximum security if they don't think for a minute that you're going to defend what they put on the table. People leave their. This is back when we smoked in Texas prison. People leave their cigarettes, their matches out. People leave their legal paperwork out. Books that are reading. Books are valuable in prison. People leave their books out. People may leave their boots or tennis shoes underneath the table. Tables were territories in prison. And if they don't think you're willing to fight to defend a table and everything that it entails for that group, then you're not going to get a seat at the table. So catching paper was really important. This is just I'm just giving you some penitentiary 101 bullshit here, but that's where the term came from, catching paper, and you do it every time you get moved. So it's just history lesson. History lesson. Now, all right, so they're catching their paper. Let me show you the pictures. They fighting. I'm not. Oh, window. I need to look at window. There it is. All right, cool. All right, let's see here. So there's a giant right there. You can see Aslan. He's in there fighting. You see there's another lion in there that Aslan. Oh, Aslan went around and every time he came in the story, every time he came in contact with a statue, he breathed it back to life. He undid the witch's damage, and that's how he built the army up. So this is a chapter 16, second to last chapter. They're fighting their asses off. Here they are. This is catching paper. You see bodies. Look, the queen. Aslan's got the queen down. She got a sword out. There's a witch up here at the top. Horned devils, griffins. There's a unicorn fighting here. Yeah, man. There's like a demon bull. You got some dead rabbits. Looks like a mongoose. There's a satyr dead. People stepping on him. They're catching their paper. Here, this is a battle too. Oh man, even the rodents down here fighting each other. There's a big old giant. Yeah, man, everybody's fighting. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Yeah, man. So Aslan kills the White Witch. Yeah, Aslan kills the White Witch. He kills the White Witch and he goes around, and all the statues on the battlefield, he breathes life back into them like he breathed life into the statues you saw earlier. Then they go to the witch's castle, and at the witch's castle, they got all those statues that were seen by Edmund. And Aslan breathes them all back to life. Everybody, the witches turn, even Mr. Tumnus, who befriended Lucy at the beginning of the book, he's brought back. And the 100-year winter with Christmas never coming ended. The White Witch is dead. This is the same witch that destroyed her own world and then made it through the Wood of the Worlds and made it into Narnia and took over Narnia. So Aslan, as a benefactor, a trickster, came into Narnia, just one of the worlds that he stewards, and took care of the problem by allowing the problem to kill him. So you're reminded of Star Wars. Obi-Wan Kenobi facing Darth Vader. If you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Boy, I've always wanted to say that. I just need a lightsaber in my hand. All right, let's see. So this leads us to all Narnia is restored. Everything's good, but it leads us to chapter 17, the hunting of the white stag. I know there's some Freemason correlates here. I'm just not seeing them. But I know they're here. This is C.S. Lewis. So they go to the witch's castle. And now Edmund Edmund becomes a king of Narnia, just like Peter. And Susan and Lucy become queens of Narnia, and they fulfill the prophecy, and Narnia is restored. Aslan disappears. But Edmund, who started off, evil, negative, or whatever, you know what? Something changed in him. It changed in him when he actually saw Aslan for the first time. When he saw him, he no longer felt that weird sickness and all that stuff. And this was right before Aslan had talked to the witch and decided to trade his life for his. So Edmund did not end up wicked and evil. He turned around and he ended up being good for Narnia. And the two kings and the two queens, the daughters of Eve and the daughters of Adam, ruled Narnia for years until they were adults. Now, when they were adults, they were on a hunt for the white stag. Says here that Edmund was a graver and quieter man than Peter, and great in counsel and judgment. He was actually called King Edmund the Just. That's how much everything had changed him in Narnia. He became a good guy. When they were adults, there was rumors of a white stag in the forest of Narnia. So they left their castle when they were adults, and they went off and they went to hunt the white stag. And in so doing, they came across the lamppost. One of them said, "I know not how it is, but this lamp on the post worketh upon me strangely. It runs in my mind that I have seen the like before, as it were in a dream, or in the dream of a dream." This is the author conveying to us that the longer you stay in a world that is not yours, it becomes your world. And where you came from now becomes the dream, weaker than a memory. So seeing the lamppost, it jogs their memories, and they remember, well, there was, this was where the wardrobe was. Remember, they're adults. It's like 40 years later. It's like, this is where the wardrobe was. So C.S. Lewis describes them finding the wardrobe, going through it, going through the old coats. Remember, the coats are garments hidden in a portal of architecture. They leave Narnia and go right back into England. When they appear back in England, they're still the same little children that they were when they started the story. C.S. Lewis has the professor, who is Diggory, the little boy that used the rings to go to the world, the wood between the worlds. Diggory knew about Narnia. He had been there. He knew about the witch. He's the one that released her. Diggory knew. So when the children come in there and they're talking to him, he basically tells them, man, they're telling the stories, and he says, man, I don't think you're being silly at all. But he also says, I don't think it will be any good trying to go back through the wardrobe door to get the coats. You won't get into Narnia again by that route. And that's how the book closes, with Diggory, who's been in Narnia before using rings, telling the children, don't worry, you're just not going to be able to get back to Narnia through that gate. It's not going to happen. So access to the other world or the other worlds is by portals that don't remain in the same place. This is book 2. This is only book 2 of the 7 books of the Chronicles of Narnia. We will be going through all 7, and we will be doing a full summary of all of them together. But I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. But we're going a little bit deeper into the mind of C.S. Lewis and the deep things that he's conveying in these narratives. The first one was The Magician's Nephew, book 1. The second one was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We'll be doing book 3. Book 3 will come out way faster. You guys know I've been overwhelmed. I've been putting my debate files together, and it's a lot of data. A lot. And before I put some of these books up that I got stacks of over here, I need to data mine them to make sure that my debate files are overwhelming. Yeah, I don't want to just do something halfway. It needs to be done right. So if I'm going to call out different concepts, I want to be able to make my points and make them, and I'm talking about nail the coffins shut. So yeah, that's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Do have a few things to share. I showed you the Michael Cremo books. I showed you the leather work. So, Michael Casey, if you're listening, man, I appreciate it. I don't go into town often. When I do, I'll stop by the post office like once every 10 days, pick up my packages and mail. Michael Casey, man, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me because I understand what this is, man. You're not the only one. People sent me books, T-shirts, ribbons, things like that. By the way, this is just one of the many T-shirts on Shopify site. I love this T-shirt. Let me hold it out, see if you can see it better. There. Yeah, man. We got so many different designs on the Shopify site. We have so many T-shirts. I never really push them, but I need to. But yeah, man, it means a lot. It takes a lot to sit there and write out a whole envelope, handwritten, send a note and all that. And then you sent me this box from the U.S. Mint. I appreciate that, man. I really do. Yeah, man. I like that. Silver coin. Look at this, guys. This is a nice one. That's a nice one. Look at that. My camera should pick that up pretty good. I got too much lighting on. Yeah. Damn it. Got too much light. No, I'm just not going to be able to. There it is. Damn, I had it. All right. Anyway, man, it's beautiful. I appreciate it. Appreciate the silver. Silver's always good for me. Certificate of Authenticity, 1995 Special Olympics World Games commemorative coin. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. He said, please accept this 90% pure silver coin. So, yeah, man. So, Corn 1, go ahead and send me that email. I see what you asked for in here, man. Send me that email. Now that I know what I'm looking for, I'm looking for Corn 1 on the email. So send me that email. One thing I've gotten far behind on my emails lately simply because I've been so busy. Vince Duergar, buddy. You've sent a few things, man. I really like this. Vince Duergar, I believe he's on the West Coast, but he sent me quite a few things. He's got his own comic books, and they're based off hemp and weed. This is Dank Vapor, Darth Vader. But he's got a whole bunch of comic books. So badass. Bong Wars. He's got a lot of different editions, all kinds of stuff. He's a pretty good artist. I think we were once talking about doing something for Archaix. That requires me to sit down and come up with everything that needs to be done for it. That's the problem. But yeah, he's talented. This is Vince Duergar. You can Vince, when you leave a comment, I'll put it in the pinned comments when I notice you put a comment underneath this video. But he's got this is just one. He's got so many comic books. Thanks for the t-shirt, bud. I'll wear it on video. I got your letter too. Yeah, I got somebody sent me. Who is this? Bradley Rogue, investigative journalist. He sent me his book on the Sphinx and the Great Pyramid. I'm gonna have to read this. I don't know anything about this author. I'll have to check it out. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. So somebody sent me some really intriguing stuff. Was this Atlantis? Yeah. He sent me a business card too. Dr. Daniel Wagner. Thank you, man. You sent me an interesting article from Nexus Magazine. Atlantis, Plato, and the Medieval Forgery. I'm going to read that tonight. Thank you, man. This is beautiful. My God. I don't even know what it is. It's a giant phoenix, but I don't know what kind of cloth this is. I have no idea what kind of cloth. It's like the peacock angel. I don't even know what kind of cloth this is. I have a letter that tells me, but I gotta go back through it. Was this made in Turkey? The letter told me. It's huge. This thing's big. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. So much stuff. I got other books, and I've been meaning to share different stuff. Rome and Libya. So this is pretty interesting. I'll check this out too. I just got a lot on my plate, guys. I'm real heavy on finishing putting my data sets together right now. I'm getting hungry now. I've been eating a lot of these instead, so I don't eat things that are just fattening as hell and all. These are from the health store that I go to. It's in Conroe. In Woodlands, in Willis, where I'm at, I go to a Walker's feed store, and I go in Conroe to a butcher shop because it's 100% absolutely. You see the cows hanging there, so they got huge freezers. You could buy a whole cow, and I have a deep freezer, but I'm not getting any more steaks from HEB, Kroger, all those grocery stores. I'm done. I love my steak. I'll sit there and make steaks. Pork chops I'll still get, but not the steaks. I saw some videos that sickened me only because I remember the texture and the taste of a steak that I bought from HEB. And after watching this video of what they're doing, 3D printing these steaks and how they're stretchy, and that was exactly the type of steak that I even remember thinking about. Man, it's so weird. Yeah, I should never, when I make a steak, I should never have to put sauce on it at all. It was yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, these right here, because I do spend a lot of time like woodworking or outside. These right here are awesome. It's just a thin wafer, but it's a waffle, but it's a honey waffle. I love these things, man. It's just give me a bunch of instant energy. I'll drink me a cup of coffee and I'm good to go. I don't even have to eat a whole meal. I can eat a meal later. So I'm trying to get back to where I used to be, because I used to be prime. I'm talking about I used to be built like a brick shit house, but only ate one meal a day. I was a snacker. I would eat little things like this throughout the day, but I would never get full. And I lost that. I mean, since I've been out of prison, I kind of started doing what everybody else did, 3 meals a day. Yeah, that shit's poison. We're not designed for 3 meals a day. At least I'm not. No. Anyway, these are awesome. I buy like 40 of these at a time, and they're just perfect for what I need. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm done sharing. I'm pretty excited about my chat tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know if his name is Jay Weidner or Jay Widener. I'll find out tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. I do know that he used to be on Gaia. He was one of the people that started out on Gaia, and for whatever reasons he left. It doesn't matter. But I'm excited about talking to him. He's been around for a long time. A lot of you guys know him, and we wanted to get him on the show about a year ago, but I don't know what happened. I don't even remember. But either way, I'm just yeah, we're going live tomorrow, Jeff. We're gonna go live tomorrow with Jeff Widener. I know. Matter of fact, I'll probably post the live first thing in the morning or later on tonight. One of them. I'll talk to Big John to see if he sent any material to be posted in the description box or anything. But yeah, these chats have really been elevating. I've been learning a lot about people in the community, not just by who I talk to, but who shows up in our comment sections. Because if you notice, I know my moderators notice that with each new guest that we talk with, we get new individuals that are popping up in the comment section, because we're a pretty tight community. I can pretty much know almost everybody that's commenting. And when somebody new comments, like I saw a couple tonight that kind of got me. One of them, you know who you are. One of you, I thought you were a troll, but one of you talking about you don't like the idea of an oversoul. Well, sure, that's fine. That's cool. I do. Yeah, me and the oversoul are just fine. We're good. But yeah, I've never seen that account before, so I'm gonna give it some slack. But other than that, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be going live with Jay, and I don't think have anything else to announce. I've still been on Twitter, shit posting. We'll probably never stop. Archaix Underground, the link is in the description box. We got like 2,800 people in there, over 2,800 people. Well, we're close to 2,900 people. But Archaix Underground is where it's at. You want to see my deep research? It's there. I'm still uploading research there. I've got a lot of audio files to my videos. If you don't want to watch videos, you want to listen to audio files, they're in Archaix Underground. You want to talk to people, man, not just Archaix community, but all kinds of people, all kinds of truth seekers, all kinds of people that are tired of the spam and BS on Twitter, on Facebook, on Telegram, or wherever you're at, on Discord. Archaix Underground, man. It's like-minded people. We've got Archaix Personals. We got Archaix Business Deal. We got all kinds of things going on in the underground. The underground is only going to grow. It's not going anywhere. We have a lot more participation. I'm about to open up more spaces. People have had some fantastic ideas for new spaces. I'm going to open up some new spaces. Each space is like a website unto itself. Do all kinds of things with them. But as we get more and more, I will upgrade that package. I've already upgraded the package twice since we started, just because of participation, and I'll upgrade it again, and I don't mind. It said that underground's where it's at. You worried about being monitored on social media and all that stuff? Well, you can go to the underground. Ain't nobody monitoring you in there. So aside from all that, I got an outro ready. I'm now looking at that wafer right there. Now I'm getting hungry. It's getting late too. What is it? It's 9:43 here in Texas. I'm checking out, guys. I am checking out. And I will talk to you guys later. Love you.